Honestly, I'm not really sure what to make of this show at all. I'm still not sure. So on this episode of Raw, the show kicked off with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Paul Heyman comes out, he cuts a promo, and he talks about how Brock Lesnar is the beast, how he's going to destroy John Cena, how he talked about Brock Lesnar defeating The Undertaker, even The Rock at SummerSlam. And he goes on to talk about Extreme Rules and that Brock Lesnar was only 50%, he was sick due to an illness. But now that he's 100%, he's really going to annihilate John Cena. And here I'm thinking, we're really getting too much of a really good thing. Even though I like Paul Heyman and his promos, I have no problem with Paul Heyman's promos at all. To me, the problem is that this feud between John Cena and Brock Lesnar is just uninteresting. And Paul Heyman's really good promos are not good enough to hype up this match between these two guys going into SummerSlam. It's just not working out for me. But here is what I will say. I like the other part of Paul Heyman's promo where he done the whole battle rap to John Cena, kind of poking fun out of his old basic thugonomics gimmick back in the day. So I thought that was really interesting out of Paul Heyman. But I think this would have came across a lot better if Brock Lesnar had a match, and it could be against anyone, a jobber, have him destroy him, and then Paul Heyman do the second part of his promo. That probably would have been a lot more better, in my opinion. It would be a little bit more well executed than just having the typical promo kicking off the show. Why not do a match? You could have Brock Lesnar do the whole thing where he destroys someone, establish him as a monster. Don't just talk about it, just do it. And then have Paul Heyman cut a promo and do the whole battle rap thing with John Cena. That, to me, would have came across a lot better than what we got on this first segment of the show. Let there be light! And then we get into the 2-on-1 handicap match. And before it took place, Corporate Kane comes out and tells Roman Reigns that you're going to be involved in a 2-on-1 handicap match against Ryback, Curtis Axel and Ryback. And while I'm watching this, I'm thinking, why even go back to the Corporate Kane? This already played out. The whole monster can't even take Kane seriously anymore. Just have him retire, for crying out loud. I really didn't want to see this Corporate Kane anymore. I just don't. And I don't think anyone really does anymore. It's just one of those things where everyone is just sick and tired of the same old WWE gimmick for a monster. And I'm putting that in quotes for a reason. Just have him off TV. Have him retire. Have him go into Hall of Fame. Do something not different with Kane, but do something that makes Kane deserve a lot better than he does as he's being featured on TV. That's all I ask from the WWE. Alright? I'm just going to put that out there before I get into the match. And when it came to this 2-on-1 handicap match with Roman Reigns and Ryback, this was not an interesting match at all. I didn't feel anything from it. Nothing spectacular, nothing out of the ordinary really happened, and I think the WWE is making a big mistake with Roman Reigns. They done it last week, and they're really booking him just way too strong. I mean, Roman Reigns in this match steamrolled right through Ryback and Curtis Axel. And here I'm thinking, if Roman Reigns can beat these two guys, he'll have no problem beating one guy in Randy Orton at SummerSlam. That just goes to show that the WWE is booking this guy way too strong. And it's really rushing his momentum. They're not having Roman Reigns take his time to build him up. As the fan reaction too, I think the fan reaction with Roman Reigns as an individual is growing, and you really don't want to screw the pooch on Roman Reigns right now by just rushing right into it, and then the next month he's WWE champion. I don't know if that would be the right way to develop Roman Reigns as a character, as an individual. And another thing about this match that really kind of bugged me is that for some reason the WWE wanted to protect Ryback. Why? What do they have to gain with this match? Not a thing. This would have came across a lot better if you just had Roman Reigns pin either one of these guys and have him, maybe steamroll the other guy after the match. I don't know, something like that. That would have made this segment a lot better, in my opinion. And then we get into a match between Seth Rollins and Rob Van Dam. And I thought this was an okay match. I didn't think it was anything special. Kind of felt anticlimactic the way it ended when Seth Rollins kind of nailed the curve stomp out of nowhere from Rob Van Dam. So I'm kind of 50-50 with this entire segment. I think the WWE probably could have done something a lot different instead of doing the same old match that we see between these two, and probably would have had Heath Slater face Seth Rollins in a revenge match where Seth Rollins goes over. That would have came across a lot better on screen. But I like that what happened after the match, even though it's kind of poorly executed. What happened was that Dean Ambrose came out of nowhere from inside a prison that was on the stage used as a prop for the Hulk Hogan birthday celebration. He just comes out, attacks Seth Rollins, and they're going at it, and I was cool with that. The one thing I didn't like from this segment is that Seth Rollins brought attention to the present before Dean Ambrose even attacked Seth Rollins. And why? It just, to me, the WWE is treating the fans really stupid here. It's like, oh, Seth Rollins is paying attention to the present. Why? Why is Dean Ambrose going to come out of here? Or something like that. And he does. To me, that just ruined the whole surprise. I mean, why even bring attention to the present in the first place? This would have been a lot better and a lot better executed if you had Dean Ambrose come out of the present and Seth Rollins doesn't even bring attention to the present. I would have been perfect with it, but nope. The WWE has to make us, the viewers, watching this on TV look stupid. One thing that I'm glad that the WWE done this week is that they didn't put too much focus on the Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella match going into SummerSlam. They only needed one segment and just a little bit one of a segment the after, and I like that they didn't use this match to end off the show. I mean, they done it last week, they done it the week before. I mean, you can't have too much focus on one match, especially a Divas match heading into SummerSlam. I mean, come on, WWE, get your priorities in check here. And even though I like that the WWE used less focus, this segment was an absolute shitfest. That's the best way I can describe it. I mean, here's the thing. The WWE was doing really good into building up this match heading into SummerSlam. They had the whole arrest angle where Stephanie gets arrested. I mean, this goes all the way to Payback when Brie quit on Stephanie, and then Stephanie gets arrested for assault. And then we get the whole contract signing. And last week, all that stuff was great until we get to here. And wow, WWE, you went there. You actually went there. I didn't think you would go there, and you did. Good God, what the hell were you thinking? It just baffles my mind what the WWE done. I don't even know if I want to get into it, but this is a review. I'll just get right into what happened on this segment. Here, this was supposed to be Stephanie's confession. And Stephanie comes out, and she brings out this chick by the name of Megan Miller. Don't mind my watch. Like I said, Stephanie McMahon brings out Daniel Bryan's physical therapist, Megan Miller, and says that that Daniel Bryan is having an affair with her. They had to Claire Lynch this to hell. Holy Christ. I just got no words. I mean, this is... We've seen this before, and well executed before. This is not the most original thing to do from the WWE's storytelling standpoint. This is the most ridiculous and poorly timing and executed segment, and the reason being, Daniel and Brie just got married. Why go here way so early? I mean, they could have done the whole thing where Daniel Bryan, his house was broken into, and the WWE using it to develop a story behind it. I would have been like, ooh, WWE, you went there. Instead of WWE, you went here? This was stupid. This whole angle is stupid. This segment was stupid. I mean, the WWE was doing so well with this match, and then they tune it with this crap. And then we get into a match between Jack Swagger and Cesaro. And here I'm thinking, a few months ago these roles were reversed. Oh man, it's amazing how the WWE really screws over the wrong people. This was ridiculous. I mean, Cesaro was a guy that the WWE had some hopes of building up to be some really good babyface. Instead, they turn him heel, they align him with Paul Heyman, they split him off with Paul Heyman, so what was the freaking point? And we get to this match here, and here I'm thinking, you know, these two guys were a really good team together, the Real Americans. And there's another thing that, there's a fly in here, and there was another thing that I think the WWE really screwed the pooch over. I mean, I thought that Cesaro was going to be, you know, on this turning point when they broke off the Real Americans, but I was completely dead wrong. I mean, it's all about the execution of branching someone up on their own. Here's a good example. The Rockers. Shawn Michaels becomes the biggest guy in the WWE. Martin Jannetty just drops. I mean, now we're seeing this whole bouncing back and forth thing with the Real Americans, Jack Swagger and Cesaro. Jack Swagger was the jobber, now Cesaro's the jobber. Everyone's a freaking jobber. You might as well have this show called The Jobber Show instead of Raw. For crying out loud. So anyway, going into this match, okay, Jack Swagger goes over Cesaro. No surprise, Cesaro got the jobber entrance anyway. And we see, and then Zeb Coulter cuts a promo. Seen it before. Lana and Rusev have come out. Lana cuts a promo. Seen it before. I'm excited for this match because the fans are invested in this match, and that's the only reason why I'm excited, is because we get to see the American Patriot versus this Russian guy that the fans just don't like. I think that's cool. It's just that the promo work is not really the most creative promo works that I've seen back and forth with Rusev and with Lana and Zeb Coulter. It's okay, but please mix things up every now and then. So then we get into this backstage interview segment between Chris Jericho and Bray Wyatt, and I thought this was really much needed for the build-up going towards this match, because WWE has not been doing a great job with this. Yes, you can make the argument that they don't need to overdo anything, and I do get that, I do understand that, but they need to make it interesting to make me believe that these two really have bad blood with each other and they really want to go at each other. I like that we got this here. Here you have Bray Wyatt say that Chris Jericho can't save himself and he can't save others. But Chris Jericho comes back and says, I'm not a savior, I'm a survivor, and I will shut you up, Bray Wyatt, and I will leave you speechless, something that no one has been able to do. And I like this. I like the tension between these two guys in the room. This was solid, this was good. This was everything that this match needed going into SummerSlam. My only nitpicky issue I had is this. This came way too late. That's all. This just came way too late. If I would have seen a lot more of this from the last few weeks, then I would say, okay, I'm ready for this match. But nothing is making me pop out to saying, oh my god, I want to see this match. But at least we got this here. This was good. And this was one of the only the few good things that happened on this week's show. And then we get into the Divas match on the show, and that was AJ Lee versus Eva Marie in a non-title match. Eva Marie goes over because Paige came out, skips around the ring, costs AJ the match. And I was okay with Eva Marie winning here because that really didn't matter. What really mattered is that the WWE used this time and used it wisely to build up this match heading into SummerSlam. And I'm glad that they gave this somewhat some time on the show. You have Paige cut a promo after AJ loses and does this whole poem thing. Roses are red, you know the rest. And then Paige kind of like loses her, AJ Lee loses her shit and attacks Eva Marie after that. Here I'm thinking, okay, Eva Marie was fine after she won the match. But when Paige attacked Eva Marie, before she attacked her, Eva Marie's kind of like favoring her head like something hit me, ow. I was like, did I miss something? Or was that a really awkward moment? Oh, jeez. They really made Eva Marie look stupid here. Oh, good God. And even though that happened, they got the point across here. Heel cuts, promo, leaves. AJ loses her shit and attacks Eva Marie. There you go. And then we get into another promo segment on the show, and that was John Cena. He comes out, he talks about that he's not going to lay down for Brock Lesnar. He's going to defeat Brock Lesnar, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we've seen it all before. We've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with John Cena. And for some reason, my eyes were hurting from how red his t-shirt was. Ow. But anyway, going with this segment, I thought this segment was okay. This was definitely your typical John Cena type of promo. I don't get this idea where people think that this was the best work John Cena has ever done in a promo. I don't think so. I've seen a lot better from John Cena. The promos that he done when he was feuding with Daniel Bryan were great. This was okay. I like the second part of his promo where he got really serious. When he's serious, he's pretty much untouchable. He kind of refers to the whole turning into the heel kind of character where he just has enough, where he takes off the wristbands, takes off the shirt and stuff like that, and says that in order to beat a beast, you have to be a beast. I like that line. I thought it was pretty cool. But overall, I thought this was another John Cena style of promo. I kind of didn't care the first part where he was not being really serious, but when he got serious, he was really good. Cena needs to be a lot more serious in his promos. He just needs to take things a lot more seriously, and he will come across a lot better. So overall, this promo with John Cena was hit and miss. Started off not so great, but ended on a really good high note. Ever hear of that expression, he the one that gets momentum on the show before a pay-per-view ends up losing? I'm really getting that with Dolph Ziggler. I don't think the WWE has really high hopes of putting the Intercontinental title on him. I really don't. But I like that they're building up him versus The Miz for the IC Championship at SummerSlam. I think The Miz so far has been an okay Intercontinental Champion. I think that if he steps away from commentary, even standing up on the booth and do promos in the ring, that would be a lot better. So I hope that, and I hope that he does defend the title more often if he will retain the title at SummerSlam. But here we get Dolph Ziggler versus Heath Slater. And I don't get this idea that Heath Slater is this new favorite for the fans. This must be sarcasm. It's weird. But what happens here is that Heath Slater goes over Dolph Ziggler by a countout, but Dolph Ziggler gets the last word. And like I said, he, the one that gets momentum, ends up the one being losing. I see Dolph Ziggler not winning the Intercontinental Championship over The Miz. I just don't see it. But I'm glad that the WWE is building up this match somewhat a good, decent job with it. So Randy Orton goes one-on-one with Sheamus. Randy Orton goes over Sheamus. And I just flat out don't care. This match was boring. This match just didn't have anything going for it at all. All this was cheap momentum, and that's it. However, I did like the moment where Randy Orton nailed the RKO when Sheamus dove off the top rope. That was a cool moment, but the rest of the match was just boring. Very dull, very dry, very lackluster. All this was a poop break before the birthday celebrations of Hulk Hogan, brother. And then we get to the final segment of the show. And my thing, when it comes to go-home shows, you know, your show before your big pay-per-view, the Raw, your flagship show before SummerSlam, there's a time and place for everything. Especially on Raw. And to me, this was not the best way to end the show. I'm sorry. I'm probably one of those few that really didn't care about this segment at all. I would rather see a match that's not been built up properly or built up enough to main event or have the final segment on your go-home show to make me excited to see SummerSlam. I mean, like I said, there's a time and place for everything, and a Hulk Hogan birthday celebration was just not the right thing to do. WWE, if you want to build up your pay-per-view event, and you want to leave on a note where people want to see, not want to see, but need to see SummerSlam, you don't have a birthday celebration. No matter who it is, I don't care if it's Hulk Hogan, or even Abe Knuckleball Schwartz, or even Undertaker, Shawn Michaels for that matter. I don't care. Build up to SummerSlam. I know you done a decent job with it. To me, this show could have done a lot more. What do we get? We get Hulk Hogan. We get Mean Gene. We get Jimmy Hart. We get the NWO. We get Paul Orndorff. We get Rowdy Piper. I like that we saw all these people. The Blast from the Past, the 80s guys. That was cool. I thought the whole Brock Lesnar and John Cena thing was, okay at best. They teased it, which was cool. At least that they didn't make this all about Hulk Hogan's birthday celebration. To me, I just could have done without the birthday celebration. That's just it. I mean, I like that they incorporated John Cena and Brock Lesnar, established that this is the main event and that this should end the show. And I just didn't think that using the Hulk Hogan birthday celebration was really necessary, even to begin with. I just didn't care. But overall, this show, I thought, to me, was just right in the middle. It wasn't outstanding, it wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, it wasn't dog shit or anything like that. It was just right in between. To me, this was just one of those episodes. It was run the mill. They were kind of rushing the show until they got to the main event, the birthday celebrations. That's kind of what I got out of it. They wanted to get all these stuff in the way. just to have a birthday celebration. I thought that was ridiculous on the part of the WWE, because it's your go-home show, the show before your pay-per-view, and you end it like that. I'm sorry, but this final segment to me was a real... not as bad as the whole Brie Bella and Stephanie McMahon segment before, but it was still bad in its own right. But if you like nostalgia moments and nostalgia segments, this is definitely the segment for you. The birthday celebration of Hulk Hogan. I mean, that's what this whole show was built around. The Hulk Hogan celebration. It just bothers me that the WWE decides to have the Hulk Hogan celebration here instead of making people want and need to see SummerSlam. Ridiculous on the part of the WWE. However, I think they've done a decent job of building SummerSlam, which is saying something, at least. So if you watched this go-home show of Raw before SummerSlam, what did you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. While you're at it, you can hit that subscribe button down below this video. You can also follow MRB Wrestling on Twitter, and you can like us on Facebook at the Mick Rock and Bolt Wrestling Review Show. And on a final note to all you viewers watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.